Need computer training for a group or office? Contact us today to get a free demo of our training at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.
In QuickBooks, you can also use the Easy Step interview to create a company file. You complete the Easy Step interview by entering information into different screens shown within the interview. After entering information into a screen, you click the Next button to proceed to the next screen and repeat the process. After answering all questions within all screens, you can click the Go to Setup button that appears in the final screen to start using QuickBooks. Within the Easy Step interview, if questions arise that you must answer and you're unsure of the correct answer, don't worry, you can usually go back and change your answers later. In most screens, you can click the Back button to return to a previous screen and change your answers. Also, if necessary, you can click the Leave button to exit the Easy Step interview. However, if you leave the Easy Step interview prior to actually saving your company file, your data entry up until that point will be lost. A message box will inform you if this is the case before you exit, so you need not worry about losing your data entry. If you are new to QuickBooks, you should consider creating a company file that is not your actual company file, but is similar in nature, a dummy company. That way you can practice creating transactions that would be likely to be entered into your own company file without placing your own real company file data in jeopardy. You can create as many company files in QuickBooks as you would like. Also, if you set up a fake company file, it can be easier to train others in your company in the basic bookkeeping involved with the company without risking the integrity of your actual company's data file. Before entering data into the Easy Step interview, you need to gather some information. First and most importantly, you need to select a start date for your QuickBooks company file. The start date is the date as of which you will enter all of the balances in the accounts used by your company file. Because of this, you may want to pick a date that isn't too far in the past, since you need to record each transaction that has occurred from the start date through the current date to ensure you create a company file that's both financially accurate and also ready for daily data entry. Many people choose the last day of the previous financial period, such as a quarter or month, as their start date. Remember, you need to enter all of the transactions that have occurred from the start date through the current date, or at least enter accurate journal entries representing those transaction values to use the company file and have accurate balances. So don't go too far into the past if you don't want to spend hours performing data entry. You also need to know the account balances of your checking, savings, and any other bank accounts within the company file as of the start date. This can often be found on a balance sheet created as of the start date. However, if that is not available, bank statements as of the start date can also be used. You'll also need to have a Federal Employer Identification Number, called an FEIN, or the Social Security number found on your company's tax returns. Once you have all of this information, you can start the Easy Step interview. To create a company file in QuickBooks, you can select File and then New Company from the menu bar, or you can click the Create a New Company button within the No Company Open dialog box that appears in QuickBooks when there is no company file opened. That will open the QuickBooks Setup window. You would then click the Advanced Setup button within this window to open the Easy Step interview. Within the Easy Step interview, you can see the interview progress meter at the left side of the screen. As you complete the screens in the Easy Step interview, your overall progress is reflected within this meter. In the first screen, labeled Enter Your Company Information, you enter information about your company. Required fields are noted by a red asterisk to the left of the field name. Begin by entering the name of your company into the company name field. You can then move to the next field by simply pressing the Tab key on your keyboard or by clicking into the next field with your mouse. The next field is the legal name field. This is most often the same thing as your company name field, but can be different for DBA businesses. If you have a question about this field, you can click the Explain hyperlink to show an associated help file explaining this field's purpose in a new window. You can read this and close it when you're finished. This type of assistance is everywhere in the Easy Step interview and is found generally throughout the QuickBooks application. For example, you can click the Get Answers hyperlink in the upper right corner of any screen within the Easy Step interview to open an associated help file regarding the content that is entered into that particular screen. Once again, you can read this information and close it when you're finished. Help like this is woven throughout the program, so it's almost always available for any screen in QuickBooks, and this is just another great aspect of using this program. Next, enter either your FEIN or Social Security number as appropriate into the Tax ID field. Then enter your complete street address into the Street Address field set. Enter your city into the City field and select the abbreviation for your state from the State drop-down menu. Next, enter your zip code into the Zip field and select your country from the Country drop-down menu if necessary. Enter your phone number and fax number if desired into the phone and fax fields using the formatting that you want displayed on your forms within QuickBooks, like invoices, for example. You can enter a default email address for the company into the Email Address field. You can also enter the website address of your company into the Website field if you would like. Once you have finished entering data into this screen, click the Next button to continue. In the next screen, titled Select Your Industry, you select the type of company for which you are creating a company file from the list of choices that are shown. The choice that you make here determines which features are enabled and which default accounts are placed into your chart of accounts. You can always customize these features later, but selecting an industry from the list will typically reduce the amount of customization required. If your specific industry isn't listed, either select the closest industry listed or select the General Product-Based Business or General Service-Based Business choices from the list of choices. An important point to note is that the answer that you make here will change what questions the Easy Step interview will pose to you as you continue. So the questions posed to an individual who selects retail shop or online commerce will be different from an individual who selects church or religious organization. For example, setting up sales tax would be a part of the Easy Step interview for the retail shop or online commerce selection, but not for the church or religious organization selection. After making your industry selection, click the Next button to continue. The next screen asks how your company is organized. Select the option button that corresponds to the legal structure of your company. This assists QuickBooks in choosing accounts for your company's chart of accounts and also in assigning accounts to tax form lines. Once you've made your selection, click the Next button to continue. In the next screen, you select the first month of your fiscal year from the drop-down menu shown. Your fiscal year is quite often the same as your tax year. A fiscal year is simply a 12-month period used for reporting a company's financial status. For most companies, the first month of the fiscal year is January. This allows them to have the fiscal year coincide with the income tax year. Once you've selected the first month in your fiscal year, click the Next button to continue. In the next screen, titled Set Up Your Administrator Password, you can create a password for the administrator account of your company file. The administrator account has access to all of the company's financial information. Note that this is an optional step, and you can create users and assign access privileges at any time. However, if you wish to create a password for the administrator account, you can enter it into both the administrator password and retype password fields. If you do this, make sure that you know what this password is. Also note that passwords you create are case sensitive. When you're ready, click the Next button to continue. In the next screen, called Create Your Company File, you create the actual QuickBooks company file that you will use. This is when you decide what to name the company file and where you will save it. Note this information as you will most likely need it later. When you are ready to save the company file, you can click the Next button to continue. This will launch the File Name for New Company dialog box. This is a standard Windows Save As dialog box, so you use it to select the folder into which you want to save the company file. Once you've selected where you want to save the company file, you can then enter the name that you want to give to the company file into the File Name field. This defaults to the name of the company, but you can change it if needed. Once you know where you will save the file and what you will name it, click the Save button to save the company file and return to the Easy Step interview. The next screen that you will see in the Easy Step interview is the Customizing QuickBooks for Your Business screen. This screen informs you that the next several screens will customize your QuickBooks company file by asking you questions about your company, your customers, and how you pay your bills. At this point and hereafter, you can click the Leave button at the bottom of the Easy Step interview screen to save your progress and return later to complete the Easy Step interview if needed. When you're ready to continue, click the Next button. Next, for your industry selection, the Easy Step interview shows a series of screens that allow you to customize your company file for your industry type. Answer any questions posed in each screen, and then click the Next button to continue until you have finished customizing your company file. Now, when you've finished answering all of the questions in the Easy Step interview, you'll see the final congratulations screen. You can then click the Go to Setup button to open a window that instructs you to create your customers, your inventory, and your vendors. You can close this window when you're finished reviewing the next steps that you should take to complete setting up your company file.
Like what you see? Get a free demo of our training for groups of 5 or more at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.